The 1976 Australian 50-cent coin, bearing the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, is a significant artifact within both numismatic circles and Australian cultural history. Though at first glance it may seem to be just another piece of modern currency, this particular coin holds deep value in its design choices, production, historical context, and the symbolism it conveys within a pivotal period in both British and Australian relations and domestic affairs. Australia adopted decimal currency on February 14, 1966, replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence system with dollars and cents. This monumental change ushered in a new era of monetary design and representation, reflective of Australia's unique identity, while still honoring its ties to the British monarchy. As part of this transition, the 50-cent coin was introduced as one of the higher denominations, equivalent to the former 10 shillings. Initially, in 1966, the 50-cent piece was struck in 80% silver and 20% copper, making it quite valuable not only in terms of currency, but also for its bullion content. However, due to the intrinsic value of silver exceeding the face value of the coin, it was quickly withdrawn from general circulation, leading to a redesign and reintroduction. From 1969 onwards, the 50-cent coin was reissued in a dodecagonal, 12-sided, shape and struck in a copper-nickel alloy. This design and composition are what we see in the 1976 issue, making it part of the second generation of 50-cent pieces, much more widespread and utilitarian than its short-lived silver predecessor. The year 1976 falls within an interesting transitional era in Australian political and social history. Following the dismissal of Prime Minister Gough Whitlam in 1975, one of the most controversial moments in Australian constitutional history, Australia was under the leadership of Malcolm Fraser, who led a Liberal country coalition government. This period saw debates over national identity, economic reform, and Australia's relationship with the monarchy. In the midst of this political backdrop, the 1976 50-cent coin emerged as a physical symbol of continuity, bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, reminding Australians of their constitutional monarchy, even as Republican sentiments subtly simmered in the background. In terms of mintage, approximately 43,896,000 50-cent coins were struck in 1976, produced at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. This figure suggests that while the coin is relatively common in circulation, high quality, uncirculated examples, or those with specific minting errors, can still carry significant numismatic value. The obverse front of the coin features a second definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by British sculptor Arnold Machin. This portrait was adopted in 1966 and used until 1984. It depicts a queen wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a delicate, classic headpiece that conveys elegance and tradition. Machin's portrait is distinctive for a refined, almost ethereal depiction of the monarch. Unlike the earlier, more youthful image by Mary Gillick used on pre-decimal coinage, the Machin effigy offers a more mature and regal portrayal, symbolizing stability and the enduring role of the crown across the Commonwealth realms. Around the portrait is the legend, Elizabeth II, Australia 1976. This straightforward inscription asserts her status as sovereign and ties her role directly to the nation of Australia. The placement of the year on the obverse rather than the reverse is notable and consistent with the 50-cent coin design conventions of time. The reverse of the coin, designed by Stuart Devlin, showcases the Australian coat of arms, a heraldic symbol that encapsulates the country's unity and federation. The arms feature a shield divided into 6 parts, each representing one of the 6 states of Australia: New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, South Australia, Western Australia, and Tasmania. The shield is flanked by the national animals, the red kangaroo and the emu. These animals are symbolically important because neither can walk backward easily, representing the nation's progressive forward movement. Above the shield is a Commonwealth star, also called the Federation Star, with 7 points, 6 for each state and 1 representing all territories. Surrounding the entire composition is a complex background of floral and vegetal motifs, likely inspired by native Australian flora, such as the wattle, adding an organic elegance to the design. This intricate engraving showcases the skill of Devlin, who served as the official goldsmith and jeweler to the Queen. His attention to detail ensures that even with the coin's modest size, the full grandeur of Australia's heraldry is conveyed. The denomination 50 appears clearly below the coat of arms, distinct and unambiguous. Notably, the word cents is not included, as was typical for Australian 50-cent coins during that period. The shape and imagery alone were sufficient to distinguish the denomination. The 1976 50-cent coin has the following specifications. Shape, dodecagonal, 12-sided. Diameter, 31.65 millimeters. Thickness, approximately 2.00 millimeters. Mass, 15.55 grams. Composition, 75% copper, 25% nickel. Edge plane, smooth. Its substantial weight and unique shape made it easy to identify in circulation, and its size, the largest of any Australian coin in general use, gave it certain gravitas in the hand. Unlike round coins, the dodecagonal form helps reduce rolling and aids in tactile identification, especially helpful for the visually impaired. From a collector's perspective, the 1976 50-cent coin is generally considered a circulation coin, with most examples showing signs of use. However, uncirculated and proof specimens struck for collectors are more valuable. Circulated coins in average condition are typically worth face value. Uncirculated coins may range in value from $2 to $8 Australian dollars, depending on the quality and luster. Proof coins, which were produced in small numbers for collectors and presentation sets, can command higher prices, sometimes $15 Australian dollars or more, especially if certified and slabbed by grading companies like PGS or NGC. There are no widely known or significant die varieties or errors from the 1976 issue, but as with any coin, misstrikes or off-center mintings can enhance value. The 1976 Australian 50-cent coin can be viewed as a microcosm of Australia's identity during a time of tension and change. While Queen Elizabeth II remained the head of state, Australia was increasingly asserting its independence and fostering a unique identity distinct from Britain. This coin encapsulates a blend of British royal continuity and Australian national pride. It honors the monarchy with its obverse, but celebrates local sovereignty through the Australian coat of arms on the reverse. In this sense, it reflects a duality that defines many Commonwealth nations: respect for tradition alongside a push for modern, independent cultural evolution. Queen Elizabeth II's role in Australia in 1976 remained constitutionally significant, albeit ceremonial in practice. The memory of the 1975 constitutional crisis, where her representative, Governor-General Sir John Kerr, dismissed the Prime Minister, was still fresh. Though the Queen had no direct role in the dismissal, the incident rekindled discussions about Australia's relationship with the monarchy. Nevertheless, the Queen remained a widely respected figure across much of the population. The coin's continued use of her image signaled both loyalty to Commonwealth tradition and the lack of The 1997 British 50 pence coin is a part of the United Kingdom's decimal coinage and features a portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. This particular year is notable in the history of the 50p coin, as it marked the final year of issue for the larger, original version of the coin that had been in circulation since 1969. This coin is often remembered for its bold design, substantial size, and historical importance in the transition to a more compact coinage system in the UK. The obverse front of the 1997 50 pence coin features a third definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklauf. This portrait was first introduced in 1985 and continued to appear on British coinage until 1997. Queen Elizabeth II is shown wearing the George IV state diadem, which is a coronation crown encrusted with diamonds and used in various state ceremonies. The image is more stylized and idealized than earlier portraits, showing the Queen with youthful features despite her age during the period of issue. Raphael Maklauf's initials, RDM, can often be found on the truncation of the neck. Inscription around the edge. Elizabeth II D, G, Reg, F, D.1997. This inscription is abbreviated Latin, which translates to Elizabeth II, the Queen's regnal name. Dei Dei Gratia, meaning by the grace of God. Reg, Regina, meaning Queen. FD, Fidei Defensor, or Defender of the Faith. 1997, the year of minting. The use of Latin inscriptions on British coinage is a long-standing tradition that ties back to the country's historical ties with the Roman Empire and its enduring use of Latin in legal, ecclesiastical, and official language. The reverse back design of the 1997 50 pence coin features the classical image of Britannia, designed by Christopher Ironside. This design had been in use since the decimalization of British currency in 1969 and is a powerful national symbol. Britannia is shown seated facing right, wearing a crested Corinthian helmet. She holds a trident in her right hand, symbolizing maritime strength. Her left hand supports a shield bearing the Union flag, Union Jack, which signifies national unity and defense. To her side lies a lion, Britain's heraldic animal, reinforcing the image of power, dignity, and resilience. Historical significance. The use of Britannia dates back to Roman times when the name referred to the British Isles. She has appeared on British coinage since the 1670s during the reign of Charles II and became a recurring symbol of British nationalism, naval power, and empire. 1997 significance. The 1997 50 pence coin was the last year this original large Britannia reverse design was issued. Starting from 1998, the UK adopted a smaller, lighter 50 pence coin with a reduced diameter and weight to better align with modern coinage standards and public convenience. Composition: copper-nickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel. Weight: 13.5 grams. Diameter: 30.00 millimeters. Thickness: 2.5 millimeters, approximate. Shape: heptagonal, 7-sided, with an equilateral curved heptagon design. This unique shape makes the coin both distinctive and practical for vending machines and tactile recognition. Edge plain, smooth. The size and shape of the original 50p made it instantly recognizable, but was eventually considered too bulky for modern usage, prompting the redesign. The year 1997 was a significant one in the history of the United Kingdom, both politically and socially. Queen Elizabeth II's reign. In 1997, the Queen had been on the throne for 45 years, having ascended in 1952. Her presence on the coin symbolized national stability amidst changing political climates. Death of Princess Diana. In August 1997, the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, sent shockwaves across the UK and the world. It was a year marked by mourning and reflection for the royal family and British society. Political shift. 1997 also marked the return of the Labour Party to power under Tony Blair, ending 18 years of conservative rule. The change represented a generational and ideological shift in the UK's political landscape. Hong Kong handover. In July 1997, the UK formally handed over Hong Kong to the People's Republic of China, ending over 150 years of British colonial rule there, a moment of major geopolitical importance. These events provided deep cultural context to the 1997 50p coin, making it not just a piece of metal but a symbol of a nation in transition. Following 1997, the Royal Mint introduced a smaller 50p coin in 1998, retaining the heptagonal shape but reducing the coin's size and weight. The original larger 50p coins, including the 1997 issue, were demonetized in October 1998, meaning they were no longer accepted as legal tender. The change was prompted by public complaints about the coin's bulkiness and vending machine compatibility. As such, 1997 marks the end of the large 50p era, making this year's coin a key transitional piece for collectors. The 1997 50 pence coin is widely available due to its large mintage, but its numismatic interest is driven by historical significance rather than rarity. Mintage figures. Over 456 million large 50p coins were minted between 1969 and 1997. While exact figures for 1997 vary, it was a final year, making it significant for completionists. Circulated value. In average circulated condition, it is typically worth face value or slightly more, usually between 50 pence and £1. Uncirculated or brilliant uncirculated BU coins. These can fetch higher prices, especially presented in official Royal Mint packaging or coin sets. A BU 1997 50p coin may be worth £2 to £5, while proof versions may reach £10 to £20 depending on condition and demand. Collector appeal. The 1997 coin holds strong appeal for collectors who focus on pre-1998 UK coinage. Coins featuring Raphael Maclau's portrait. Commemorative transitions, last year coins. Symbolism of Britannia in British coinage history. The 1997 50 pence coin is part of a legacy of British currency that symbolizes continuity, identity, and evolution. The presence of Britannia connects the coin to a millennia-long tradition of symbolism, while the monarch's effigy reinforces the constitutional heritage of a united kingdom. Its demonetization in 1998 marked not just a shift in currency, but a wider modernization of the UK economy and infrastructure. Yet, for collectors and historians, the 1997 coin remains a final tribute to a bold, elegant era of British coinage. The 1997 50 pence coin is more than just a unit of currency. It is a reflection of Britain's monarchy, artistry, national symbolism, and historical evolution. With Queen Elizabeth II's poised image and Britannia's classical power, the coin encapsulates the country's past and its values at a turning point in modern British history. As the last of the large 50p coins, it holds a special place in the story of British numismatics. Bridging the 1992 United Kingdom 10 pence coin is a small yet rich artifact of British numismatic history, encapsulating decades of tradition, the cultural identity of a nation, and the evolving portraiture of a long-reigning monarch. Queen Elizabeth II. Although 10 pence may seem modest in face value, the coin's importance lies in its position at the intersection of monetary policy, public symbolism, technological minting advancements, and historical milestones of Britain at the end of the 20th century. The obverse side of the coin is graced with the profile of Queen Elizabeth II, accompanied by the Latin legend Elizabeth II DG Reg, FD 1992. This inscription, which stands for Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensatrix, translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This dignified expression is a reflection of Britain's enduring constitutional monarchy, its religious heritage, and its centuries-old traditions linking church, crown, and coinage. To appreciate the 1992 10 pence coin, one must consider the socio-political and economic climate of Britain at the time. In 1992, the United Kingdom was undergoing profound change. The early 1990s were marked by a recession, high unemployment, and political turmoil. The government led by Prime Minister John Major faced significant challenges, including fallout from Black Wednesday in September 1992, when the UK was forced to withdraw from the European exchange rate mechanism. Culturally, Britain was also at a crossroads. While the foundations of the modern internet were being laid and the seeds of a digital economy were being sown, Britain still held firmly to its traditional institutions. Queen Elizabeth II had been on the throne for 40 years by then, embodying continuity amidst rapid change. The monarchy itself was both a stabilizing force and a subject of growing public scrutiny, especially with the rise of mass media interest in royal affairs. In this setting, coins like the 1992 10 pence piece served not only as currency, but also as tokens of national identity. Symbols carried daily by citizens that reaffirmed the presence of a sovereign and the unity of the realm. The obverse of the 1992 10 pence features the third definitive coinage portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by sculptor Raphael Maclau. This effigy was introduced in 1985 and used until 1997. Maclau's portrayal is known for its idealized and youthful appearance of the Queen, depicting her crown with a George IV state diadem, a crown commonly worn by queens on state occasions and also seen on certain postage stamps. Maclau's intention was to create an image that was both regal and approachable, one that would resonate with the general public. He famously stated that he wished to capture the warmth of her smile. The intricate details of her diadem, earrings, and necklace are a hallmark of his artistic approach. His design was a departure from a more reserved and stately depiction by Arnold McKim, his predecessor. Encircling the Queen's image is the Latin inscription mentioned earlier. The date, 1992, appears below the portrait, serving as both a timestamp and a historical anchor in the Queen's long reign. The reverse of the coin features a proud lion passing guard ant, also known as a heraldic lion, a motif with deep roots in British heraldry. This emblem was designed by Christopher Ironside, a respected coin designer and heraldic artist, who was commissioned in the late 1960s when the UK transitioned to decimal currency. The lion is shown walking with its right forepaw raised and head turned toward the observer, a posture that conveys both vigilance and regality. The design harks back to the royal arms of England, where 3 lions passing guard ants symbolize England's strength, courage, and authority. Above the lion appears the denomination 10 pence in capital letters. The composition is symmetrical and noble in its presentation. Unlike modern coins, which often depict diverse and changing symbols, the lion reverse was a fixed design for decades, reinforcing a sense of continuity. To understand the 1992 coin in full context, one must briefly trace the history of decimalization in the UK. Prior to 1971, Britain used the old pounds, shillings, and pence system. Decimalization was officially introduced on February 15, 1971, known as Decimal Day. The new system divided the pound into 100 new pence. The 10 pence coin was originally minted at a larger size, 28.5 millimeters, from 1968 until 1992. These larger 10 pence pieces were identical in size and weight to the pre-decimal 2-shilling coin and circulated concurrently. However, by the early 1990s, it became apparent that the larger coins were unwieldy and inefficient in daily commerce. Thus, in 1992, a pivotal decision was made to reduce the size and weight of the 10 pence coin to more manageable dimensions, 24.5 millimeters in diameter and 6.5 grams in weight, aligning it with other decimal coins and improving practicality. The 1992 10 pence coin, therefore, marks the first year of issue in this reduced size. This makes it numismatically significant, as it was not just another annual issue, but rather the inauguration of a redesigned coinage standard that would continue into the 21st century. The 1992 10 pence coin was struck in copper nickel, a durable alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This alloy was favored for its resistance to corrosion, its silver-like appearance, and its compatibility with automated coin handling systems. Diameter, 24.5 millimeters. Weight, 6.5 grams. Edge, milled grooved. Metal, copper nickel. Mint, the Royal Mint, Lanchester, Wales. These specifications remained standard until 2011, when the Royal Mint transitioned to nickel-plated steel to reduce costs. Thus, the 1992 coin belongs to the last generation of pure copper-nickel 10 pence coins. The mintage of the 1992 10 pence coin was relatively high due to the need to replace the older, larger-sized 10 pence pieces. According to Royal Mint records, over 1.4 billion coins of smaller design were eventually produced in the early years following 1992. However, the 1992 coins themselves, being the first small-size issue, are often of interest to collectors for historical and transitional reasons. In uncirculated or proof condition, they can hold more value, especially within complete decimal sets. Coins are more than instruments of trade. They are carriers of collective memory. The 1992 10 pence encapsulates the essence of British identity in coin form: the monarchy, heraldic tradition, classical Latin inscriptions, and precise minting standards. Even the choice to retain the heraldic lion during a time of modernization reveals how deeply symbolic animals and medieval motifs continue to shape British statecraft. While nations like the United States have often chosen natural symbols or figures of liberty, the UK reaffirms its royal lineage and warrior past through its coins. While the 1992 10 pence is still legal tender today, its design and materials mark a chapter now past. In 2008, the Royal Mint began a new reverse design series featuring parts of the royal shield, fragmenting the heraldic